Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to Afterburner. I'm Bill Whittle. I was driving down the PJTV studios last week, driving the 405 freeway here in Los Angeles during the morning rush hour. Gives you a chance to really soak in the scenery. By the way, you can count the petals on the roadside daisies, or you can look down and go, oh, look, a cigarette butt. It's a camel. It's got pink lipstick on it. Kind of gives you time to really look things over. Now, I was in the far left lane next to the carpool lane when I noticed I was coming up on an unmarked matte gray Crown Vic. The Crown Victoria is the unofficial car of official business. You see them all the time. But this one caught my attention. Gray matte finish, police searchlight by the driver's window, a couple of antennas, and a little dome you don't usually see up on top. And I thought to myself, probably the feds. And then I started thinking about it. And as I slowly drifted past, I noticed the darkest tinted windows I'd ever seen in the back and on the sides and even on the front windshield. There was a tiny little LED bar underneath the front visors in case you needed to light up for something. And the more I thought about it, the more it started to bother me. There were no front tags on the car, so I drifted back a little bit, and there were no rear tags on the car either. And frankly, that started to piss me off. I mean, who is this guy? This pudgy, middle-aged white guy I can barely see through his front windshield in broad daylight. What the hell is he doing on public streets in a car without license tags? And I immediately thought, oh, it's got to be the feds, and that made me even more angry. I'm not even wondering anymore about who this guy is. I'm wondering about who he thinks he is. What authority does he have to drive without tags in or out of the carpool lane? And then I thought, well, who's going to pull him over and check? What's his official business? Who's he accountable to? Now, you might say maybe he's some undercover guy and he's trying to avoid being identified. Really? Undercover for who? And in that vehicle, if you want to blend in Los Angeles and not be noticed, why not drive a Prius with a coexist bumper sticker on the back? Then no one would ever pay any attention to you. So who is this guy? And what level of arrogance, supported by evidence no doubt, makes him or his agency think that they are so above the law that they get to flaunt their power by driving around without license plates? What if he rear-ended somebody or hit a kid on a bicycle? Why do the laws that apply to everyone, including highway patrolmen for that matter, not apply to this guy? Oh, he's on official business, you see, federal business. Way over your head, citizen. Don't ask questions, just move along. Now, my drive also takes me past LAX. I've had a lot of experience with LAX police. I was a limo driver when I first came to Los Angeles, so I was at LAX 4 or 5 times a day for 4 years. So, full disclosure, LAX police are my natural enemy, and I was not impressed. But recently, I was getting dropped off for a flight to a speaking engagement, and I saw what appeared to be a SWAT guy on the curb, combat boots, tactical pants with all the pouches, big black utility belt, black shirt, and one of those plastic hockey helmets that the Delta operators use in close quarters combat. He was directing traffic, this SWAT guy. His utility belt had a radio and a flashlight and some mace. He wasn't SWAT. He was LAX police, airport police. But you could tell who he wanted to be, and he didn't set the dress code. Now, I see this more and more. SWAT teams kicking in doors for poker games or massage parlors. Small-town police forces buying all kinds of tactical gear, including armored personnel carriers. Domestic police forces are getting more and more militarized, and what's worse, their attitude and egos are getting very dangerously large. So, one of two things are happening here on a national level. Now, perhaps all of this is coming down from the top as a means of slowly and incrementally preparing the American people to accept tagless, above-the-law law enforcement and SWAT team meter maids. But I don't generally believe in conspiracy theories, although I have to tell you, after what I've seen in the past 5 years, I'm no longer surprised at what I'm no longer surprised at. More likely, though, I think, is the psychology behind all of this. Now, we as a people properly and appropriately revere our Special Forces guys as the first line of defense. They're the guys that go in there and take out bin Laden and Somali pirates and do 1 or 2 or 3 missions a night without any fanfare or recognition. I know a few of them personally, and they are, in every way, the opposite of this strutting, authoritarian Crown Vic mall cop mentality. So I think the simple explanation for what's happening here is the most likely one. I think that virtually every one of the people drawn to this line of work want to be the guy on the right. And no one stands in front of me with regard to my respect, gratitude and appreciation of the millions of dedicated and courageous soldiers and police personnel that serve us all with professionalism and valor. But there's a large group of people who want to be the guy on the right, but for one reason or another find themselves being the guy on the left. And so they do everything they can to dress and act and talk like the guy on the right, but they don't have that guy's competence, skill, or confidence, so they inflate themselves, just like the guy on the left did. You know, the reason that the brilliant Don Knotts won an Emmy Award for every year he played Barney Fife was because he captured the nuance of what was fundamentally a sweet but incompetent man, one who was given a bullet to keep in his shirt pocket, but who became, when his authority was in full flower, a tyrannical, overbearing, authoritative bully. You know, I used to think that military dictatorships could not come to America because of the quality of its people, especially its law enforcement people. But when I saw the glee and the sheer vindictiveness of park rangers pushing people around during the government shutdown, when I see SWAT teams bashing down doors on trivial and routine operations, and when I see unmarked Matt Gray Crown Vics driving along without identification because they know that no one will dare to question that authority, I begin to get very, very worried about the fundamental decency of guys like Barney Fife. They're wannabes. Now, I can say this without judgment or malice because I ought to know. I'm a wannabe myself. I wanted to be a fighter pilot. I failed the vision test for the Air Force Academy, and all of my work since then, my blog, which was called Eject, 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 Firewall, Afterburner, all of it, they're all references to my wannabe lost fighter pilot future. But the difference between them and me, and I don't think this is a trivial difference, is that people like Barney really enjoy telling people what to do at the point of a gun. And I am doing my wannabe level best to make sure that that doesn't happen.